Khadeejah, as you all know, Khadeejah was the most beloved wife to our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And it is actually not easy to find information about her. And the reason for this is many. I mean, there's many reasons that it's difficult to find narrations about Khadeejah. Of them is that, believe it or not, you would think that some people would have written books in the classical times about Khadeejah. In fact, they didn't do so. Rather, what they did was that they wrote books about all of the companions, and of them was also Khadeejah. So we don't have specialized books in early Islam, big volumes about Khadeejah binti Khuwaylid. But one of the main reasons why we don't have much information about Khadeejah was because she died a very early death. She died in the early stages of the prophetic message. She didn't migrate to Medina. And most of the narrations that we have of the Meccan seerah are actually very limited in number. Even though the Meccan seerah is actually 40 years before the prophecy and 13 years after the prophecy, that is 53 years of the life of the Prophet ﷺ. The majority of the seerah involves the Meccan era. And yet, the number of narrations we have about this era is very dismal compared to the Madani era. The reason for this, in Mecca the Muslims were small, they were persecuted, their quantity was little. Who had time to collect information? Who had time to write history books? Who had time to narrate about the life and times of the Muslims? Also, they're in a situation of humiliation. In this situation, you have to get by. You're not worried about a future history. In Medina, the Muslims are in honor, in izzah, in glory. They have strength, they have quantity, they have quality. And so people are writing, people are narrating. The number of companions is much more in Medina. And so, because also it's much more, and also they're younger companions, they live a longer time. The majority of companions never saw the Meccan phase. They were either emigrants to Medina or they were born in Medina. They were the Ansar. So who's going to narrate about Khadeejah when they haven't been there? And the third reason why we have very little information about Khadeejah is because naturally the societies of that time, like the societies of our time, were segregated. And therefore information about women is more difficult to obtain than information about men. If something happened to the Prophet ﷺ in public in Mecca, then there's going to be 50 men seeing this. But how about Khadeejah and the Prophet ﷺ having a private conversation? How about Khadeejah supporting the Prophet ﷺ, consoling him? Who will be a witness to this? Who will narrate this? Obviously, hardly anybody. And therefore, all that we have about Khadeejah is various tidbits here and there. And what we can try to do is to form a more comprehensive picture about this great and magnificent lady.